Transparency Task Force. We are spending more and more and more of our time coming to one simple, straightforward conclusion. Enough is enough.
In this country, our authorities do not give a damn about fraud, scams and mis-selling and financial misconduct. They turn a blind eye, they fail to act, they let down victims, and frankly, there is a scammers charter.
But as a lot of you already know, that there's literally lives at stake. When I was in a press conference a while ago, I spoke about one of our volunteers, one of the Transparency Task Force volunteers, a guy called Ian Davis, a lovely, lovely man. He was a lawnmower repairman, lost his entire life savings as a direct consequence of one of the country's biggest, worst, catastrophic regulatory failures. London Capital and Finance, you might have heard of it. It wasn't the loss of the money that caused Ian to take his own life. We did know him quite well. It was the fact that for 3 years after, Ian was going round and round in circles, literally losing the will to live, trying to get the authorities to take him seriously when he was trying to report what had been going on. But you all know as well as I do, there's a grotesquely long list of scandals. Loan charge victims, HMRC egregious conduct with victims, Woodford investment scandal victims, Connaught, Equitable Life. 20 years ago, over 1 million British people, and possibly some people from overseas too, lost shed loads of money. And you know what? The Equitable Life Members Action Group, or EMAG, Equitable Members Action Group, have been battling ever since. I think you already know this, but today is all about working together. It's not about individual cases or individual campaigns, it's about campaigns united. Like the banners say, we're marching for justice, and we're marching for justice for everybody that is some kind of financial misconduct victim. And there's a lot of them, isn't there? There's far too many. The authorities just aren't taking it seriously enough. We're fighting for justice. What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
Like the laws are enshrined to protect those people who are...
Yeah, actually, I am.
No.
What's 68 though?
So you... 84, 85. Yes. Yeah. Lots of... Yeah, well, I mean...
Officers, do you like the banner? Jail Bent Police.
No comment.
You know it's true. Hey,
Did you want it?
he could have helped us, couldn't he?
Did he want it? Yeah, get him to carry it.
Officers, should bent coppers be jailed?
Obviously, sir, we don't get into debates like we.
But as you know, people should uphold the law.
Of course, yeah, that's what we're here for. That's why we're here to help you facilitate your protest.
So you would agree that bent police that do cover-up reports and bits like that should be jailed?
Obviously, sir, I'm not getting into debate about this. I'm here to help facilitate your protest.
Thank you.
Yes, it is. We're going to remind ourselves why we're here. We want justice. What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
And that's why we want it. That coffin is symbolic. Real people have lost their lives. It's outrageous what's been going on. Thank you all very much. Can you please put your hands together for Mr. Great Mulholland?
Thank you very much, Andy, and thank you to the organisers, Andy, Carly, Sue, and everyone who's made today happen. So give them a big round of applause, because without their efforts, all of you, we wouldn't be here. Now, we're going to walk round the corner in a minute to, first of all, HMRC, you are allowed to boo, and then to Parliament, where I was very lucky and privileged to represent the wonderful area I live in for 12 years. And I learned so many different things about human nature, about British politics, and about just about every issue that you can imagine. But one of the most shocking things I found out from being an MP for 12 years, a UK Member of Parliament, is that in this country, our authorities do not give a damn about fraud, scams and mis-selling and financial misconduct. They turn a blind eye, they fail to act, they let down victims, and frankly, there is a scammers charter in this country, and it's an absolute outrage. One of the wonderful things about today is that we are coming together as different groups. I've been very pleased to have been working very closely with the Loan Charge Action Group for the last few years, and through that we've managed to expose quite a number of things, including, Andy, the fact that we now know that 10 people facing the loan charge alone tragically have taken their own lives. 13 people have been referred for having attempted suicide, and that's just the loan charge. And we know that there are many other groups where people have felt that awful sense of isolation and despair when they have seen no way out. And one of the tactics, I'm afraid, that is commonplace across all these different groups that have come together, and I've been delighted to work with investment fraud victims, I have dealt with Sue and the pension fraud victims, is that the authorities let you think that you're on your own and that it's your fault and that you were foolish or that you were deliberately behaving in a way that you deserve whatever happens to you. And that is the attitude of HMRC, to the extent that they actually persecute people who are facing the devastating double loss of huge amounts of money and also then a tax bill that they know that you can't pay, but they don't care. because computer says no. And as for our authorities, you look at America, they don't get everything right, but I'll tell you what, you commit fraud over there and you know about it. You'll probably get sentenced for years, the rest of your life. Here, frankly, police forces don't want to know. Our county police forces say we can't afford to do anything about it. We deal with burglaries. That's what we get judged on. And then we have these national crime agencies, but they ain't no FBI, and they don't have either the will, the resource, or the expertise, whatever it is, to properly deal with serious, complex financial crime. Apart from a few exceptions, there are some good cases, but we don't have a concerted approach across the board. And that could change. That could change. And then the Financial Conduct Authority. Does anyone think that they do a wonderful job?
No!
Overseeing the financial sector and supporting victims and going after those people who have scammed and defrauded ordinary people. So we have this lack of political will. But I tell you what, it is changing. It is changing because of the campaigning of each and every one of the groups here today. So it is making a difference. And we all watched, didn't we? Just a couple of months back, we watched on our televisions the most extraordinary spectacle of the once trusted post office, the British post office, postman and Pat and all the rest of it. Who would have thought that the UK post office would be basically lying and sending people to prison for doing nothing wrong, to cover up their own failures? And that's the key thing, cover up. It's cover up, and the authorities are too keen to cover up their own failings and the systematic failings rather than dealing with the issue. So we need to keep campaigning, all these different groups, all of you from very, very different backgrounds. Let's keep working together. Let's stand up to the authorities and say we need change across the board. We need taxpayer fairness, we need a taxpayer bill of rights, we need a financial conduct authority that actually does its job. And we need politicians and a government that says we are no longer on the side of the scammers and the fraudsters, we're on the side of victims. Until we get that, we need to keep campaigning. Thank you, and let's keep campaigning for justice.
There's a famous Harold Wilson quote: whichever government is in power, it's always Treasury that's in charge. That institution, ladies and gentlemen, has the potential to be a respectable, trustworthy, reliable, honest, decent national institution.
When?
But at the moment, it's not behaving in a morally correct way. Every single time something important gets on the desk of somebody senior in Treasury, the benefit of the doubt is always given against the victim, time and time again. You're going to be hearing from a gentleman in a moment, ladies and gentlemen, Paul Weir, who amongst his colleagues has been battling for 20 years to get the Treasury to do the right thing and sort out the Equitable life scandal. It's just one of many cases. But what Paul's going to explain to you is going to be a marvellously insightful account of what's happened to the 1 million Equitable life people. Many of whom have ended up in one of these damn things, either for natural causes or otherwise. And Paul's going to share with you his insights into what's wrong with Treasury and why it needs to change. I say this, Treasury, shame on you. Treasury!